The first thing Jesus does as he goes around is to teach. That's the first thing. And I can see the wisdom of the young missionaries that came to our own country and died. Immediately they came. They didn't organize this huge crusade movement and all of that. They just set up a school. And my father in 1926 was one of those early converts who took the name John and was baptized as a young school kid and was confirmed by Bishop Bullen. Bishop Bullen moved from Zaria and went on to Sudan, where he died. But Dr. Miller stayed there, finally died in Jos in 1954. He was a medical doctor. But school was the strategy of God to teach. Our pulpits are teaching places. Our classrooms. I've only recently just graduated from the College of Education because it is now required that anyone who would teach must have an education certificate, and I now have just gotten one because I've been teaching in Glorious School, and I've been teaching the 14-year-olds to 18, and I teach them English, which is fascinating because I use my friend's Rico Tice's mark, discovery. There's no law against that. They read that, they learn, they ask questions, I give them homework, and then I now give them the one-to-one of my brother, Richard, and they witness in the communities in English. And I teach them the GC O levels. By the time we come to the real syllabus, it's so easy because they've now learned how to read and write and summarize, and that's what I do now. And I'm going back to teaching. I hope I can start from the primary level, age 6 to 10, and then jump 11 to 14 and catch the senior secondary where they can now witness and share the gospel. Teaching. We're looking for teachers. Jesus is looking for teachers. I'll tell you something my father told me. When I told him the Lord was calling me, he was very excited. He was very happy, and he was willing to pay my fees, school fees. But he sat me down. This is a man whose grade 2 Cambridge certificate was since 1936. He said, Benji, I said, Baba, you should go to Cambridge and learn how to speak good English. That was his dream. So that you can be a good teacher. And I said to him, Baba, what do I need that for? I mean, I want to be an evangelist. I want to save souls. I want to bring people to Jesus. And he said something to me that I've said all over the world. He said, Benji, a good teacher will always make a good pastor. But not all pastors are good teachers. I threw what he said away. And I went on. I did come to Cambridge. I walked there for a little while, and I was very disappointed. Everybody was on bicycle. The roads are narrow. And I went back and told him, I said, Baba, is this why you want me to come and study? Everyone is on riding bicycle. The rooms and the beds are too nice. No, I don't want. At any rate, I finished seminary. Guess what? The first assignment my bishop will give me, in addition to being a vicar of St. Andrew's Church, he asked that I teach in the new theological college. I struggled with that ministry. But in God's good grace, in TCNN, in the theological college I attended, you must do education as course every year. So I went back now to all the education notes, lesson notes, objective, introduction, body, conclusion, ask questions. I went into that. And you know what happened to me? That was how I learned how to preach for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, for 20, or to preach and teach for an hour if you want. Because teachers are the only people who can change your mind. They're the only people. There's something about teaching that takes you into the hearts of your students that parents cannot. Students love their teachers. They do. It's only students. They may forget your formula. They may forget all the English you spoke, but they never forget who you are. If you are a wicked teacher, they'll never forget that. They may pass your exams, but they'll never forget that you are an unkind person. They'll never forget if you are a loving, a nice, cheerful, wonderful human being who loves them. So teaching exposes who you really are to the people you want to bring to Christ. And I love that aspect because my students, my children in Gloria's school, a lot of them are orphans and all of that, living with uncles. And when I'm passing sometimes on foot or on my bicycle, they will run. Bishop, Daddy, please wait, we have a question. Anywhere in the village. That's what Jesus did. Teaching the word of God with his life for them to examine, with his words for them to swallow. And they found his words true and his life admirable to imitate. He was teaching the word of God. And the gospel must be taught and explained all the time. My eldest daughter was telling me, she was discussing with her immediate younger brother, who's now a priest, and she said, she asked him, Rinji, when did you receive Christ? And his answer was, which one of them? The one that mommy asked me to receive Christ, or the one I received Christ in the church? Because Gloria, you have to receive Jesus Christ. You just have to receive Jesus Christ. And for one of my sons, he said he received Christ maybe about 50 times. Because Gloria will insist, she wants to know that you know who Jesus is. And you have to show it. And today, in the grace of God, these kids are missionaries. And we tease Gloria and her methods, but it has worked. We must explain what the gospel is.